period. But it is the same bans, same picks at the moment for LNG versus Top Esports. And Top Esports can continue the Game 2 trend, but this time round, LNG want to take the Lee Sin this time.
Okay, so it looks like we'll probably get the Viego coming in for Knight potentially again in that mid lane. We'll have to see what the rest of the game plan is here for Top Esports though, because you could still go towards the Jace, which has just been the go-to for 369 this entire series long. Maybe you try and lock yourself in some of these early junglers as well, just to try and even out, but at least when you've already got the likes of the Xin Zhao banned off and we haven't seen a huge amount of priority there, maybe they're happy to just go, we'll wait for his second rotation and go towards things like the Diana and that instead.
I do love this for the side of Top Esports though. 369's most played in his career is that Renekton. It is something he has been born and bred on and hasn't had an exceptionally pop-off game or pop-off series so far, but this is now an opportunity for him to show us that he can get that lane pressure, lane dominance, and look to just get that snowball running for him in the top side.
Looks like we get the Ezreal coming in for light though. Means that we can open up Iwandi to go for these roams. Now, we got a great performance on the Alistair coming through from Iwandi in the last one. Maybe we see a similar story coming through here. But especially now that you know that you're up against the Renekton, we could just see the Lee Sin swap towards Tarzan in the jungle and you get a good matchup in top lane. Volibear looking really, really good in that top side of the map right now against that Renekton. Also things like the Camille are there for the late game scaling, but certainly struggles in the early matchup.
Oh, Camille here for Ale. So again, both top laners getting very, very comfortable picks there. Ale very, very solid on that one as well. So Karsa will, or excuse me, 369 will have the early pressure against the Camille in the early stages, but longer those levels go on, the more we see the first item being picked up. Camille definitely gets himself the advantage, but we now see the Diana being locked in here for Karsa as it was not allowed to go through to that second stage of bans.
Yeah, and I think the big reason for that is Jackie Love going cool. We know that we're going to be all right now. You got an Ezreal in that bottom lane. We're going to be able to get ourselves situated. Like, probably see things like the Aphelios ban from LNG. There we go. Also looking towards the some of the picks like the Kalista that can do relatively well against the Ezreal. But you've still got so many champions that you can still play in that bottom lane. Jackie Love isn't really under any threat. And he's been practicing, I was going to say a lot of the Ziggs, but that's actually banned away. Like, he's been playing a lot more things in that bottom lane that have opened up the flexibility for Top Esports in this second rotation.
Well, they've gotten away a lot of those mid laners that can deal with the roaming bot lane and jungle combination, as we see now LNG doubling down on a lot of these support, or excuse me, AD carries. So the Kog'Maw taken away, the Aphelios, still a lot on the board here though for Top Esports.
Kalista. I'm feeling the Kalista. Yeah, I mean, it does so well against the Ezreal. Gives yourself this really nice early game aggressive AD carry to try and play around, and you can then look towards the late game scaling the Diana and the Viego, right? It kind of gives you that bridge to get to the later point. Jo taking the Thomas Kench down towards the bottom lane though. Have been seeing him a lot more in that top lane role, but won't be getting it this time around as he'll be going into that support role instead.
Yeah, I also was quickly looking down the champions. I was like, is that top lane Tahm Kench? Did we get bamboozled? And I was like, no, we were fine. It's not going to be that today. It's going to be the support. Definitely a lot different to what we are used to seeing with the Tahm Kench in the bot side. It's something more of a, I suppose, like a bullet sponge engage tool rather than the very safe and solid devour, keep my AD carry up, at the back line kind of setup. So LNG recognizing that, they're going to go with the Alistair and the Azir. So a little bit of Shurima and Shuffery coming in now for our Icon.
And I feel like it's because they know the Jinx is coming. They've already been like,
yep.
Oh, okay, well, we've got Ezreal. Jackie Love has been like, okay, we're going to go for this kind of more late game scaling oriented champion, feed into Viego, Diana's late games as well. And there's no real threat on the backline. Never mind. Okay, going to go with the Senna Tahm Kench. So you're going to get the top lane Tahm just played in the bottom side.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. This is such a great adaptation into the Senna Tahm Kench, and such an oppressive lane as well. Such an oppressive matchup to go into. It's going to be all on Ale to really find someone out in that backside. If he can catch and kill off Jackie Love on the Senna, then you lose so much of the value. But I'm kind of liking this from Top Esports.
Now, I will say that the reason we've seen Senna Tahm Kench start to fall off is that a lot of that safety was from the CC that the Senna could provide, and then the Devourer coming through from the Tahm Kench to keep Senna safe. It was like this mutual symbiotic relationship that worked really, really well for both of them. don't have that safety coming through from the Tam Kench, which actually leaves that Senna far more vulnerable now, especially in these early levels where she doesn't have those range advantages. So I'm expecting, despite the Ezreal, to see Tarzan playing a lot down towards this bottom side, trying to punish that Senna pick and the fact that she's so vulnerable, and then seeing if you can make that snowball happen for you from that position. Now, if you don't end up in that situation, Senna, phenomenal late game scaling. Tam Kench, beefcake that's going to look really good as a tank. And you've still got the Diana and the Viego there. There's so much late game scaling on top esports that you need to get the ball rolling here on LNG's side, or you just become irrelevant.
For LNG, a win here puts you on 11-4, guarantees you top 6, as everyone below you cannot usurp you from that throne. And the win for top esports keeps them in the running for top 4, top 5 even, as they come out into game 3 of this best of 3. It's a 2-1 setup for whoever wins it. LNG wouldn't have it any other way, as they hit their 7th series in a row that goes to the 2-1 scoreline regardless of results. And it all comes out to this, all left out on the Rift, as we jump in and see how and who will be the winner.
Now, I also want to take a look at the way LNG's composition operates in terms of working against top esports, because a lot of the late game scaling that we're talking about is through Diana, through Viego. They're looking good. Well, you have a composition at LNG side that has a lot of opportunity to reset these fights, right? Iwandi, we saw him doing really well against the Knights Viego in the first game of the day. You're also looking at Icon, who's now got this Emperor's Divide, Light being able to arcane shift away, and you still pack a punch as this Azir and also this Camille in the later portion of the game. So for top esports, it's definitely going to be about trying to find these flanks, setting up in multiple positions so you can very quickly burst down members of LNG before they can crucially get that reset and re-solidify themselves in the fight.
And we see the bot lane using a little bit of mana and seeing if they can juke out the bot lane of top esports to say that Tarzan was starting on the bot side, but is going to start on the blue. So both junglers taking away their blue buffs. No leash for the LNG jungler, but there was a leash there for Karsa. So see how that pathing does go for them.
Well, the nice thing, at least for top esports, is vision, vision, vision. Look, they got a ward that's already in over at the Raptors pit. They're going to spot, hey, hang on a second. Tarzan has not come by to clear these Raptors, so he is going to be on that top side of the map. Unless we get some kind of sneaky play from Tarzan where he tries to move around the Raptors and go towards his top side. But at least for top esports, you won't be completely caught unaware by this, as Ali actually getting some good trades off in this top lane in the early stages, but this will change in the top lane as this game goes on.
Yeah, level 1, difficult for 369 to get anything going. The tactical sweep is pretty damn good at just keeping you at arm's length and getting that damage down. We do see the knock-up, double knock-up into the stun as the knockback there. Jackie Love getting himself punted back towards the minions, but this is the kind of engage I was talking about. This is where Tam Kench has found himself a little bit of a niche in the meta where you're just not really expecting the range of it.
The range, the damage, the tankiness that comes with him as well, thanks to that thick skin. He's really difficult to deal with, but you're not dealing with the Tam Kench in this lane. You're dealing with the Senna, and that's where I'm actually quite worried for Jackliffe. As we said, he is still vulnerable to these engages before level 6 because you don't have access to that Devourer. So we'll have to see how that plays out, as again, Ally getting some really nice trades here.
Yeah, and even getting the stun out of 369 as he finally goes in. Won't be able to land that one down, but see what now these junglers want to do. We are going to see Tarzan clear out the ward while the Scuttle Crab was being taken by Karsa. It's level 4 to level 3, so I don't think Tarzan's going to want to try and take this, so he's just going to be double scuttled. He's accepted his fate, and he's just going to try and clear out his jungle.
Yeah, Icon going to back away from this one. 369 already in a position to try and help out. So you can already see, though, for top esports, right, the same threat, I'm going to say, from the mid jungle isn't there that we had in game number 2. It actually is pretty strong between Tarzan and Icon, and the ability for Icon to move away from a lot of the plays top esports try to set up is going to make this a bit of an easier time, which is why you can see Icon playing that a little bit more aggressive, trying to punish the range versus melee matchup more. And maybe for LNG, they can try and use the fact that they've got that mid lane pressure to find these plays elsewhere, because otherwise, you know, Jackie Love gets the scale, 369 gets to punish this lane matchup, and it's a long time before LNG are as relevant as top esports.
See now, this is where the Renekton starts to come into its own form, as now Karsa with the red buff roaming up into this top side. Probably pretty confident that Ally does not have a a ward in this bush, but they are going to commit to it now. The hook shot, wall shot is not going to be used as a flash forward there from Karsa, secures first blood.
Really well played by 369 as well, baiting LA into that false sense of security as he goes for the slice, and then waits so long on the dice as LA walks up, manages to pick him off. So nice early kill going the way of Top Esports, as LA will have to TP back to collect the wave.
It will be. I don't think you're going to be able to reset there, 369. You're going to have to be a bit more respectful and get yourself back to your tower. So do you see LA will lose a minion because of that little reset there, but it does give him an extra bit of time, maybe force out the TB from the Renekton. We'll see how well the wave is pushed in.
So this is really nice for Top Esports in the fact when we looked at Rift Herald, having this top lane advantage is going to be pretty crucial, because one of the downsides of having a Senna Tam Kench is you kind of need both to be in the lane together. Otherwise, Tam Kench gets shoved in, he can't really defend the turret, there's an opportunity for a dive, and with that, I1D can then roam towards topside quicker, and you can look for the numbers advantage for LNG. If you end up in a situation where 369 and Knight are just too big, Karras is monstrous as well, you're not able to make these plays happen, so you can actually combat a lot of that early pressure from LNG. However, Tarzan down on the bot side, Karras also in the vicinity.
Yes, and they know he's there as well, so you can see straight away LNG just backing up, not want anything to do with this whatsoever. Is level 6 for Karsa, so it does have the Moonfall should he want to go for a dive, but with the Dragon now being started here by Karsa, maybe goes for an early rotation on that, and actually thinks the better of it. Doesn't think that he can take it just yet in case the Lee Sin is around.
I think he was just checking to make sure that that Tarzan actually wasn't on that objective. Karsa though now moving back towards bot side. Lightning Wandi still playing very defensive though with this big wave about to crash.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot for Top Esports to gain off of this, but Karsa thinks differently. They have Tarzan just waiting off in the wings, seeing
Level
if he can join in
well.
this one. There is no TP for top laners, but there are TP for mid laners. There's going to be a 3v3 in this bot side. They go in. They're going to try and take down Jackie Love, but not able to get anything else off of that. Tarzan's still waiting for that level 6, but important for LNG. They survive the gank.
Yeah, I mean, Jackie Love taking a good amount of damage there. Actually goes very low. Observers, I don't know if this is the lane we want to be looking at, as Jackie Love does go fairly low, but able to walk away from that. This is what I was talking about, right? For Jackie Love, he is still incredibly vulnerable in this lane because of the changes to Tam Kench on 11-14. Don't have access to the Devourer. You can't really keep him safe. And as long as Tarzan's able to get this aggressive play spot, you can set up for like Nawanti. It's just unfortunate that it's as an answer to Karsa rather than as a play set up for LNG.
Now with Karsa having that pressure in bot side, recognizes the full resets, gets himself that early Drake. Cloud Drake is probably the hardest one to solo out by yourself, does an awful lot of damage very early on, so if you get caught, you're probably just dead. Doesn't need any help, doesn't need anything to worry about though, as he gets himself out nice and early, gets the Dragons. That's first Drake of the game going over to Top Esports. Now Tarzan is hovering around this top side with I1D. They may be expecting a little bit of a play to maybe come out from here, but very difficult to get anything going right now.
Yeah, especially with where the wave is situated, 369 playing it very safe, knowing they've just won off on the objective roll down in the bottom side of the map. So he's just going to take it nice and easy, not give the chance for LNG to make these plays. And this is what we're talking about, right? 8 minutes on the clock. I1D gets to roam before Jackie Love and Joe because of the way that this matchup of the bot lane works. But because Top Esports have advantages in the lane, they're also in a pretty good spot when it comes towards Carson with the reset. You can't just hard force this objective as LNG.
Well, see the hook shot, wall shot used as 369 and LA just keep trading the bot side. Level 6 was hit by Joe, so he has access to the Devourer. Jackie Love should be feeling a little bit nicer about that lane matchup now. And this is just going to be, again, tit for tat. No one really going too crazy in these early stages just because they know, as example for the last game, how big of a snowball it can just create from it.
I'm curious to see what the plan is from LNG though. They are not going towards this Rift Tower. They're deciding to give that up. Icon deliberately kept his teleport though, moving back towards mid lane. So might be looking to see if they can make some sort of play down towards the bottom lane or counteract a play from Top Esports as they try to use this Rift Tower. But either way, you're not really losing too much here as Top Esports getting this Rift Herald, and you're already about 1,000 gold up as well.
Yeah, about 1,000 gold up, sitting pretty, feeling fine. Dominance has been used as Ale doesn't quite get the full reset off of the hook shot, wall shot, but Carson now up here on top side. That's pretty much going to be top tier 2 or top tier 1 taken, and no real response here for LNG.
And I want to feel sorry for LA, but this is self-inflicted, right? He picked Camille into Renekton. It's never a good matchup. You get bullied so heavily in the early stages, and it is kind of 3 items before you're really relevant in this matchup with the Sterex and also having the Titanic Hydra. So for 369, he's going to have a field day and just be able to sit for the longest time and just farm up this Camille.
Karsa in a little bit of trouble, forced to flash away, but there's a Hextech ultimatum. There's the Moonfall to come down onto Abel. They're going to have Jackie Love all the way from bot side, but it does not matter as Karsa was not able to capitalize on the extra life he was given. 1-1 on the scoreboard as a light is left all on his own on the bot side.
He'll still be fine here. You can't really look for the dive here as top esports, but I want these roams making something happen for LNG. The problem is Terra goes down top. Light is now ultimateless in this bottom lane, can't try and clear the wave, and top esports are going to start to get a few of these Terra plates, and especially for someone like Senna, Terra plates are just a magnificent dessert when you're not able to farm.
Yeah, getting that extra little bit of gold get you towards that Kraken Slayer, and Manamune as quick as possible, but see exactly what way they want to go for it. Good response here from LNG. They knew that the top side had a lot of pressure against them. They are able to mitigate some of that farm and CS, able to keep pushing them up, but now a Gore Drinker for this Renekton makes it very, very difficult to make that play happen a second time.
It feels again like LNG, we're just not getting the interaction between the lanes, right? We're talking about Icon still having his TP up and available. Maybe they can look for something, but haven't seen a huge amount coming through from him. Tarzan has been trying to get access to a couple of the lanes, but it's been in response to Karsa, not a proactive play we're talking about. And if you end up in a situation again where top esports run the map, they start to stack up dragons. They've already got one under their belt. They can start to look towards a second Rift Herald because LA will only have fallen further behind because of the way that this matchup works. And it doesn't feel like LNG are getting a foothold to contest top esports.
Oh, it feels like for the first time, mid lane has been very quiet, so LNG have had to look around other places. Yeah, thank you, Azir, and your incredibly interactive gameplay. But while this has all been happening, you can see now LNG just seeing if they can get as many of this vision away from the side of top esports. It is very frustrating as a bot lane when you just put down wards, or anyone is really, you put down a ward and it's immediately cleared. Just feels like you got zero value out of it.
Mid lane.
Mid lane.
Yeah.
As I would say, top lane, or excuse me, bot lane, as we see the Devour had to be used there. Jackie Love was under pressure, and now you don't have access to that summoner anymore.
I mean, big ultimate down for Joel, though, as this dragon is about to spawn. The reason I say no mid lane is Icon has teleport, could look for the reset and get back to mid. So it looked like top esports were trying to make a 3-man dive onto mid to shut that down, but don't actually get the opportunity to go for it. And now Icon, like, he's sitting below half health or half mana, but should be able to shove in this wave, reset, TP back in with a nice item advantage for himself overnight, and maybe LNG try to contest this objective.
I mean, I definitely see a world where they can, but right now you can see on the mini-map Tarzan moving towards top. Karsa is already on that dragon, so it's going to be 2 dragons here for top esports. They've got themselves a 2,000 gold lead, and it is more just about getting these solo laners to their first item here for LNG. They're not really too concerned about the objectives right now, so I think they know they're just in a little bit of a bad spot. 369, though, might have found himself Tarzan. There is a kick available, so I think 369 knows there's no real chance of him killing off this Lee Sin.
Dive bot side, though. Icon has TP, same with LA.
Now they both have TPs available. They are seeing if they can catch out Light Wandi, but Light Wandi back themselves up. 4 men in that bot side does mean, though, that pressure in top and mid should go over to LNG. And this is the push and pull that we are so used to seeing between some of our top teams now being fully implemented by both sides.
And again, though, it's top esports getting these little advantages. Even if they don't get the terror, or sorry, get the dive under terror, they still get the terror plates. They're still getting these advantages. And again, this gold lead that was 1,000 gold lead quietly extended to a 2,000 gold lead because of the CS, because these terror plates. And you're just getting to the opportunity where Jackie Love will have his 2 items completed. Knight will have his own Divine Sunder built, Blade of the Rune King. Karsa as well, already having that Hextech Rocket Belt. Zhonya is going to be coming in quick and fast. And suddenly top esports, they're pretty ferocious when they get towards these fights.
I forgot it was changed to Rocket Belt. I preferred Proto Belt, but it got upgraded. It's no longer a prototype. It's now the full-fledged thing. But yeah, honestly, I think you're sitting pretty if you're top esports. You don't really have any onus on you to push. You got the 2 dragons, so they're not stacking against you. It's an Ocean Soul again, so not really the worst in the world to be given away, even as a few random drakes if you don't feel comfortable with the fight. This is more a question in my head now of who is going to kill off Zhou and this Tam Kench as we get later and later into this game, because right now it just feels like Ale is just so far away from being relevant.
The Tam Kench, at least when you get to like super late game, does actually have a fall off period. Like when you get to like the 30 plus minutes, he is a tank, but he's not crazy trying to take him down. So people like Ale with this true damage and the precision protocol can deal with it. Bot lane though, members again here as this turret tries to take place.
There is a teleport available for Ale and for 369. The turret does fall. It's 3v3 for the moment. There's the TP coming in as we see Light trying to get himself away. Will not get hit by the Dawning Shadow, but Knight is there. Heartbreaker is enough to take him down. They're going to be able to devour down onto Iwandi as well. This is just such a well-coordinated opportunity here from the side of Top Esports. They keep chasing, but look at the solo laners from LNG. They're still in their lanes.
Yeah, Icon had started to roam down, but he pieced out. Now Knight runs into Icon, but he's fine. He just walks away, and again, coordination better from Top Esports. They're trying to make these proactive plays. LNG permanently on the back foot, not actually trying to help out their either laner. And now LNG find themselves in a further deficit, as maybe Tarzan looks for Knight.
Yeah, I don't think he can get anything from it though, as see now Icon will find the Ruined King in the mid lane. But a little bit of damage on that tier 1 in mid, not really going to be able to take it down just yet. 4,000 gold, like you said, it was 2,000. That little move in bot side got them 2 towers, got them 2 kills, and then get them so much more pressure and more advantages coming into this mid game.
And when do you fight as LNG? That's the big question for me right now. Because you had a couple of opportunities where you're like, okay, we can use teleports to get sneaky item advantages, but we don't see it happen. They don't fight for Dragon when they've actually been able to. Now you're in a position where, okay, we're sitting on the back foot. Ale is irrelevant. He's almost a full item behind against the Renekton as well, who's just better at this point in the game. As you can see, 369 totally happy to just steal stuff away in Ale's face. Tarzan hasn't really gotten to a point where he's big. Karsa does more in a team fight than this Lee Sin. Icon has got one item, he's doing nothing. Like, nothing on LNG side screams, yes, we're good to go. And every time I thought maybe we get LNG trying to make a play, things like this happen. Where it's actually Top Esports that are the first ones making these fights happen, and everyone on LNG is leaving each other high and dry.
Yeah, it's more of a everyone for themselves solo queue game than it does feel like a totally cohesive and coordinated team fight. But it is still only a 4,000 gold lead here for Top Esports. There is still opportunities for LNG, but like you said, it becomes much more difficult, as we get later on the game. And 40 seconds to this Dragon, I don't know if you can contest this right now.
The only way that LNG can contest this is if they get a nice split up of the fight with Icon and that Emperor's Divide, maybe Iwandi being able to force people back, and you try and use the range you've got on the Azir and the Ezreal to poke, buy time, and deal with one person in Top Esports at a time. If Top Esports are just able to jump on top of you and close the gap, it's over for LNG.
Yeah, I already see pings coming down, everyone backing away from the bot side. LNG saying to Ale, look, go towards that wave, get into the position to be able to take that tower, perhaps, as 369 finds themselves in a position behind the mid lane tier 1, and now with LNG looking to try and see if they can get something going for them. Iwandi is there, but they're not even on the right side of it. Yeah, Light is just nowhere near it. You have to go back.
Yeah, so it's just going to be taken. I mean, not even the chance of a steal. LNG will try and trade an Ocean point, or Soul Point here for Top Esports, and you're looking towards Ale, who's, yes, getting a tier 1 top. Like, LNG are so out of this game, they're just not able to contest anything.
Yeah, they're going to look for trades right now. As long as they keep their mid tier 1, they are still in good standings. Again, similar to team game 1. Able to keep Top Esports to a limited field is the name of the game here for LNG, and it should be not the easiest thing in the world, but not easier to do than anything else. And to say that 369 going to get jumped on by Ale. Ale with the Hextech Ultimatum. The Dominus has been popped as well. There's a trade of ultimates for the moment. Now Ale trying to see if he can just keep putting the poke down.
Yeah, testing the waters there. He's still working towards that Ravenous Hydra though, so not quite able to deal as much damage as he'd like. 369, Gordrick going to come back up, which makes it hard to fully trade, but Top Esports now collapsing on towards this mid lane. They want to get this last turret for themselves.
Yeah, they want to try and get it. Ale In a little bit of trouble, but hook shot over the wall, he's fine. And this is the problem when you're not contesting for things. You don't really have the position to go for stuff, and then when you get caught out like that, it means you lose very key abilities, and the ultimate from the Alistar being down makes this defense and topside very difficult.
And this is the same thing we saw in the last game, right? Top Esports, they managed to get this lead. They're contesting both sides of Tarzan's jungle, stealing away Blue, Gromp, now also pressuring on this top side. And even if... Oh, hang on, Ali.
Oh, flash in, but nothing to follow up with, and there's a good bit of damage traded back. 369 may have gone a little bit too far forward. You can see Icon looking for something. Has he got the flash? No! He misses it completely. Doesn't land a single ability, and now LNG have to back away. They are not contesting anything anymore, and they know they have to run for the hills. I thought Icon was going to do it, but did he flub the flash? I couldn't see what happened.
I think he did. Like, for at least from the look of it, it does seem like he flubbed it. And honestly, that's kind of is the statement of this game, right? Where it just has not worked out. We can see Iwandi here tries to get into Jackalope, great flash away. But unfortunately, it means that Iwandi ends up having to burn the Unbreakable Will, and they can't get very much. But yeah, Icon messing up the play. LNG now, that's kind of been the story of your game so far.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the world. Not the worst thing in the world. You didn't lose anything off of it, which is the important thing. But in just under 3 minutes, there is going to be that Ocean Soul for Top Esports. It's a very low kill game. It is still only about a 3,500 gold lead for Top Esports. And it is still okay for the side of LNG, but like you said, it is still a very, very difficult game for them to come back and win. They need items, they need money, gold, and just straight up levels before this Azir, this Ezreal, and this Camille will find ascendancy and advantages on their own.
Now, at least when you get the Nashor's Tooth completed for Icon, we're going to get a good amount of damage out of him. It's actually not the usual build we see at competitive. Usually we get to see like a Morello and not even the Nashor's Tooth picked up, just utilizing the Q and the ultimate for the majority of your damage on this Azir. But it does mean you got another team fight tool, at least for LNG, and another carry for these fights. It still, though, feels like you're a long way from home when it gets towards actually being able to fight against Top Esports, especially if they manage to get this soul in just under 2 minutes.
Yeah, just under 2 minutes. They are pressuring towards tier 2 and top side. I don't think LNG are in a position to really contest this one here. They are going to try and rotate everyone over. That's the one thing I will say right now for the side of Top Esports that is a difficulty, is that they are very short range. So very difficult to get in and get auto attacks. They are relying on Jackie Love to get that one going. He goes on top of them though. They are going to use the Devour very, very early on. There's a True Shot Barrage only onto one. Ale did TP in as well. Tarzan goes in, forces the flash out from Joe. There's a tactical sweep. Now they're going to jump down onto Karsa as they try and make this fight one work for them. They're trying to back away though as the Dominus Crocodile is on the backside. He's going to try and get away, but Ale will fall. And LNG look for a fight, but there's just too much sustain, too much health, and too much healing.
Karsa's going to turn over towards this Baron, but I don't know if this is what you want to do. LNG still have a lot of poke. They still can contest this, but looks like it's at least quick. For the moment, with the TP coming in, LNG are going to start to aggress forward.
6,000. There's a TP. That's going to be Viego coming in. Top Esports. I feel like they went off that drag or Baron just a little bit too early. And now they can look to go back in on top of this. Icon is here. He does have the Shurima available. The Emperor's Divide is there, but they've taken down the big old cow, mincemeat. And that's going to be the soul taken back as they try and get this Azir out and away. Tarzan off on the side will end up going back down to his Azir to keep himself safe. And the Baron is now in Top Esports' pocket. They have total control of this game and 24 seconds till that soul spawns.
And with Baron, it feels like it's impossible for LNG to try and contest. They're hoping that Top Esports won't be able to make it in time, but with the Baron recalls and that speed up coming out of base, they're going to be there just as that dragon could be taken by LNG. But LNG realize this. They've backed off. You have to hope for a miracle steal from Tarzan. Otherwise, you're up against Soul here for Top Esports.
You're looking at the team they're against as well. The Senna, the Tahm Kench, just so much healing off of those two people alone. And yeah, I think LNG recognize they just cannot take this objective. They have to give it up. That is Soul Point, Baron, 7,000 goal lead. It's just everything and more for Top Esports. And they've only given up 1 tower and 1 kill.
It's just been, this is the game that I'm actually like, right, this is Top Esports dominating. Last game, yes, but it was because Knight managed to pick up a bunch of kills early. This is Top Esports putting their foot down and going, no, we are going to play this game better. We're going to be the ones that make aggressive plays. We're going to be able to set ourselves up for success. And now with Baron up, it doesn't mean, like, there's just no way LNG can try and hold on to these turrets.
No, without the wave clear of a traditional AD carry, of course, more of a mage caster is the Ezreal. It just becomes very difficult to try and get those minions down, especially when they're buffed up by the Baron. Important to note, though, LNG have not had their base cracked open just yet, and like I've been saying all this game, they still have tools available to them, but it just feels like they're just being straight up stopped by Top Esports and everything that Top Esports has.
And I mean, look, Top Esports are just contesting this mid prio. One Knight takes the top lane turret. Now, at any point in time, you can have Top shove in this mid. Knight's still going to be totally fine top as Tarzan takes a whopping chunk of damage.
Icon's been caught, and he catches out Tarzan on the way back out of this as well. Zhou goes in with the Abyssal Dive. Not quite able to get it. Jackie Love needs to be a little bit careful. Iwandi with the Hex Flash over the wall, but look at the pings going down. Ale is the only one to deal with this topside turret, and he's trying to go in, but it's Knight and 369 and the rest of Top Esports. It's going to be the base cracked open.
Demolished means that terror is now gone. There goes the inhibitor turret. Inhibitor soon to follow. Mid could also be in turn as well.
There's just not enough damage, not enough options here for LNG to really fight for any of this, and they won't lose the inhibitor just yet, but do they see the fight now top side? Knight forced to use the Heartbreaker to get himself away from the oncoming Ale, but Ale is now down to half HP. Mid lane is still being pushed in. 20 seconds. This will be the last wave of minions with that Baron buff for the side of Top Esports, but you can see already LNG, they has to pop. You see, Iwandi has to pop the ultimate, keep himself alive, and there we go. Immediate engage using the Moonfall to catch on the 3. Doesn't kill off anybody, but it guarantees them 2 inhibitors.
And that's all they wanted. An ult for 2 inhibs. You'll take that trade every day of the week, especially with the amount of AD champions that are on Top Esports. They shred through these things. And now, again, LNG, we've been begging the question, when do you get involved? When do you try and make these plays? But across the board, it has not been coming up. And Top Esports have just been slowly but surely just bleeding LNG out.
There's just nothing LNG can do. Honestly, I think they are 20 minutes away from being relevant in this game, where the Azir has 5 items, 6 items, where the Ezreal is putting out significant enough poke that can stick. And even if it does stick, they can heal it back up because they have Ocean Soul. I just feel like right now, Top Esports 9,000 gold ahead, Ocean Soul, 2 inhibitors taken as well. It just feels... This is, like you said, total domination for the side of Top Esports. LNG not without a hope or a prayer.
And again, like we talked about, hey, there seems to be this trend with LNG where we'll get one phenomenal game from them, where we get all this aggression that are going towards the lanes. We're getting interactions with like Icon, TP, and Bot, making it happen. And then you get games like this where I'm just like, what happened? Like, you take this early Lee Sin pick, we don't get any action towards any of the lanes. You're not actually trying to help out anyone. And you end up becoming just further and further behind as Lee Sin, especially against the Diana matchup. The opportunities to try and get on towards Jackie Love were never used. Trying to help Ale was never happening. So you end up with a losing match in top, a match where you get outscaled in boss, and this matchup in mid that doesn't really matter because Azir isn't doing anything.
Yeah, I think 0-0-0 for Icon as a man who we look to carry a lot of what LNG do just isn't really what you expect to see from this man. As Joe just, fine, I'll tank up all of this. You've done nothing to my health bar. Now look at your turret. It is almost dead. That's going to be the Viego moving towards the mid. Now has a TP should he ever need it, but it's just going to be doing it right now to escort these minions in. And LNG, you got to pull the trigger. You got to make a decision. You're just going to lose if you don't do anything because the minions are now in your base.
And it does seem like the latter. The white flag seems to be waving from LNG. I mean, their Nexus turret is under threat. Their bot turret is under threat. Minions are starting to stream in from mid and top side. There's just nothing that they can do right now.
They gotta make a choice. Gotta make a decision right now. You gotta figure out what you want to do right now, LNG. Do you commit to the mid defense? Do you commit to the bot lane defense? What is the call? Top Esports very, very happy and satisfied to sit here underneath your tower and wait. There is the tier 3 going down, but no, not quite yet. They're gonna go in. But it's just Iwandi. He was by himself, decided to go in. Nobody followed up on it, and that is almost certainly the game. Very anticlimactic as we come into a Top Esports. Going to have so much more agency now at a 5v4. Nexus turret number 1 does fall. LNG looking for some more. Icon misses his Shurima shuffle, goes golden only to die. And this was just straight up Top Esports handing LNG their tuppence, handing them the result and saying, you lose, we win, and they are not out of playoffs yet.
And as the Nexus falls, LNG come to the stark realization that no decision is a decision in and of itself. And without actually making any sort of plays around the map, without trying to do anything across the board, they just slowly bleed out. And Top Esports, they take over.
I'm very disappointed, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. This was